Back bends. Okay, so back bends are things that strengthen the back body. You can try it. And open the front body. Forward bends in general strengthen the front body and open the back body. So we're looking at specific kind of back bends that do specific things. Before we do that, since you all have largely been sitting around, you can do a few like cat-cows and downward dogs and stuff like that. So just do a little bit of warming up. Because Yoga Lab, we sometimes go deeper into postures than we might even in normal yoga class. And Tracy, for you, probably lying on your back and doing the moving spinal twist, lower back bothering you, is the best.
Okay.
Yeah, so when the lower back's not really happy, you can do moving spinal twist on the ground. That feels nice. It really grounds the lower back. That's good. Yeah, good, Eliza. Yeah, we like strength building postures for Eliza's body type. Subin's all done. Enough yoga. So April, I didn't get a chance to give you feedback since you had to scoot off. Thought your class was really very easy to follow. How did you feel when you were teaching it?
I felt good for the most part. I messed something up and then I got nervous and then I forgot where I was.
Oh, that happens.
I had a moment of
Yeah, it's important to remember that when that nervous or anxious feeling comes, to just connect with someone in the class, which you did. Yeah, you connect. Yeah, just say, hey, how's it going? I kind of feeling nervous. So it's okay as the teacher. But the major thing is that when you are talk teaching, I don't want to be standing up here and talk teaching while people are doing stuff, because they'll too easily be looking at me. And it also leads, like you did, like one side of standing balancing pose. There's really no need to demonstrate anything. So it's a habit that it's important to break. So talk teach from the back of the room. That's preparing you to start seeing the room. And you're really ready to start working with individuals even. But the next stage is being able to stand at the back of the room and talk teach. You can keep warming up. And so I'm here and I can see everyone. And so the third stage of teaching is for me to be naming something. And so even if I said something like, that's nice, Sarah, inhale back off the twist, exhale further, everyone gets a chance to check in, even though I'm talking to Sarah.
In your comments, I feel like I made a couple that were generalized.
Remember to think or feel, but never feel like. So I am very precise, And I do use people's names, and I use the students that I know, generally. And I leave new people mostly alone unless they look like they're about to hurt themselves. And then I don't call them out by name. I go walk up to them really closely and whisper to them, like something. Hey, try this. That way, the new person doesn't feel like they're being called out in front of the whole class. But I usually only do that if it looks like they're doing something that's really painful or potentially dangerous. So you're taking a few more minutes to warm up, and we're just going to look at a couple backbends since the class is abbreviated. This class is ostensibly the backbends on the floor that include bridge pose, bound bridge, fish pose, and camel. I don't generally in level 1, but it's not wrong for you all to offer it as an option when you have a lot of athletic people in your classroom. Just say if you would like to do full backbend, you're welcome to. That is the beginning of what is the most advanced stage of teaching, which is teaching a multi-level class. And the structure of this level 1 class, once you've practiced it enough, makes it very easy to teach a multi-level class because there are options built into things. Like right now, April is doing wide-legged forward fold. It can also easily become a straddle handstand. But for a lot of people, it's just wide-legged forward fold. Crescent moon can be with just one arm, or it can even be in a chair, or it can be 2 arms and lifting the leg. Bound angle pose can become turtle pose. And so like that, the flow of the level 1 form is set up to make it easy to teach multi-level classes. However, do not teach them until you have passed your teaching final and know that you can do the first 4 stages of teaching. Multi-level class teaching is very difficult. So finish up what you're doing. If you're doing something on one side, make sure you do that side and do something bilateral. And these alignment loops inform the student how to practice and inform the teacher how to touch. So we're going to go right into the postures. The first thing we're going to look at is called Ushtra. Ushtra, and those are position 3 sounds. Ushtra, which means camel. So who would like to demonstrate camel pose? Usually, okay, April, I like a doubled up mat, so you can double up your mat. Very hard surface, and that's a very thin yoga mat. So here is April preparing for Ushtrasana, the camel posture. It is a back bend, and in some ways, in this level 1 flow, it's the deepest back bend for the heart vessel itself. She can go ahead and start it. We're watching her do camel pose. For some of you, you're not used to watching yoga postures, so that in and of itself is nice. Any vantage point on the cardinal direction is good, so from the side or from the front, but those are better than diagonal looking. So 3 more breaths. You can see her here. She can now reach for her heels with both hands at the same time, touch with her middle finger, and puff up her chest a little more. Good. And then come straight up. And child's pose is the classic counter posture. And child's pose is different from extended cat stretch in that the knees are together and the hands are back by the feet. Whereas in extended cat stretch, we often will have the knees wide and the arms out in front. So this thighs together posture, the reason it's different is that it will encourage more flexion in the spine. It'll round the back more because the thighs are underneath the ribs. Whereas if she has her knees apart, she can work on extending her spine. Camel pose again, she'll do, and I'll talk through the setup. So we put the knees a little wider than the hips to start with because we want the student to hug the mid knees. So that gripping in with the knees to the midline is part of the pose. Curl the toes under, and sometimes I'll have students even reach back and try to pull their pinky toe forward because a lot of students have trouble getting the pinky toe to actually hyperextend. But that gives the people the ball of their toes, and then I'll even sit back and I'll smash my heels down with my palms. So that would just look like her pushing down to really ground the ball of the toes. And once they do that, she can then kneel up, and she has 4 wheels now. And then hands on the hips is fine for her. Many people can't do palms down. So can you demonstrate palms down? So that's fine. The most realistic thing, if you can get your students to engage the knees and feet to the midline, is just to practice now the shoulder loop. That's really what this posture is teaching, is the shoulder loop. So they stabilize their base, and now she's going to work on the back of the head coming back, the shoulders drawing down through to the back of her heart, and then lifting the sternum up through to the hard palate, right through her cheekbones. So that's what the posture is teaching. And how is the action of the arms related to that? That's the key movement to exploring. In April's case, if she were to do her own version of the posture, she could take a few breaths here. One of the key things that I might do as a teacher is kind of give her the crown of her head like that. Now that she's got it, she can then go back for her heels. Now that she's got that, sometimes if a student's having trouble, I'll support the back of their head and she can press into my hand, but just gently smile. There you go. Okay, you got your head? And then there's, the light touches that bring awareness. So you can slide on the collarbones. So we're opening up through the collarbones, broadening the chest, right? Because she's already so flexible. And then I always say, straight up, and then child's pose. You'll see people go for one heel and then the other. They'll always do the same side, and they're always reinforcing the same asymmetry in their hips. And so we're really teaching people, when they're asymmetrical, they'll have one leg that's weak that got hurt a lot. And so they're always going to get the weight out of that one, and they'll always go back with their other side. And as they practice yoga day after day, year after year, they're actually becoming more unstable. So it's important that you teach people how they go into the pose and out of the pose is the pose. I hug to the midline when I'm unstable, then I go straight back, and then I hug to the midline to come straight up. And those are important things that you're responsible for teaching. Otherwise, and this is happening all across America, if teachers aren't well educated, if people practice yoga more and more, they're actually destabilizing themselves over time. And so people ask me, would you recommend yoga? I'm just like, I'm not sure, like, I don't know where you're going to end up if I don't really know, because it's really important to me that the education standards get much higher so that I can be confidently say, yeah, try yoga. Because right now I honestly am like, I'm not sure. I definitely recommend swimming with fins on, because I know that'll work for people. Okay, so we're going to look at Lu, which will be a much different body in camel pose. You can use. Oh, yeah.
See a lot of people just like dump in there like that.
Well, that's why we're going to have Lu do it.
No.
One of the worst offenders.
Okay, I don't know if Lu can turn his toes under, but we'll see. Because his feet might be so stiff he can't turn his toes under. And that's real for a lot of people. So don't be the mean yoga teacher who says, turn your toes under. And they're like, and that's fine. If that hurts Lu, then we'll say that's fine. Just put your toes back. But are you okay like that?
Yeah.
Okay. So now use your knees toward the midline. Put your hands on your hips there. And see Lu try to put his fingers face up on his hips. Can you turn your hand over so the fingers... It's just a little too hard, but try it again, Lu. So put your palms flat, the first position, palms down. Okay, here he is, and you'll see how his shoulders look there. But see what, the reason we eventually want him to try is now try to do fingers face up. See how that sets his shoulders already? Yeah. Okay, so this sets his shoulders already to try. So we'll work on that with Lu. But if he were to do it this way, he might cramp or something like that. It's hard to say. So take a break, Lu, and do child's pose. It might not seem like much, but that was actually enough for him for right now. Okay, because just trying to get his hands like that, the whole lines cramp up. The hand through the forearm, up through the shoulders, up into the back of the neck and the jaw. It's all one movement line. So the whole thing cramps up. But as Lu is doing this yoga teacher training and more yoga, Lu's got a lot of feelings to go through. He always go home and take baths and wants himself baths and whatever. But he'll get through this stuff a lot faster because he's really signed up now. Okay, ready, Lu? We're going to try again. Can you turn your feet under again, or is it too much? He's there. Okay, stay there. So I'm the teacher. Help him a little bit. Yep. They can totally have their feet down, no problem. Then I'm just going to give him the back of my hand to the back of his head. Okay, and he's there. The inhale, you lift your chest. The exhale, you press back into my hand. Inhale, lift your chest. Use your knees to the midline. Keep breathing. Good job, Lu. Keep pushing into my hand. Use your shoulder blades toward me. There you go. See? But don't hold your breath, right? There you go. Stay with it. You take your head. Okay. So as a teacher, you're seeing this. It looks pretty symmetrical. I'm here. The one last assist I might do with someone like Lu is to put my hand right between his shoulder blades and put my other hand on his breastbone like this. Keep breathing. Use your knees. And up. Okay. I'm child's pose. I mean, that is a deep assist. I have my hand like this. I'm pressing in between his shoulder blades, and he's going to be kind of grabbing me with the shoulder blades. With this hand, I'm opening the sternum and the breastbone, opening all of the intercostal muscles and even through the chest muscle. I could even use both hands on his chest. I used to do with men that were doing hot yoga. I just slide right through there because a lot of guys are like, and so I pull through. What do I want you all to do? What kind of assist would I like you to see you do? And you can come and see if you can help them curl their toes under. Might not seem like a big deal, but it's actually really helpful. Okay, it's really helpful. Try curling their toes under. Then I'd like to see you all support the back of the head with your student. And then I'd like to see you all practice touching with one finger between the shoulder blades and maybe one finger at the sternum, which you can do on a woman even. Okay? You can touch on the breastbone. Don't touch her throat and don't touch the breast. Just touch with one finger. Okay? And I'm saying lift here, squeeze here. Lift here, squeeze here. Okay? Toes first, head second, and then key action third. Okay? Because you stabilize the base, right? So give it a try. Camel pose with your partner. Work with somebody different. Somebody. If you're not back bending, then lie down on your back and bring your knees in. You can either help. If you don't want to do, you don't have to do, right? But if you want to help someone, Michael's here, and he seems willing. He might be willing to do 2 sets. Okay? So look at their base. Are their knees wider than their hips? If their knees are wider than hips, just a tiny bit. Then help them get their toes under, especially the pinky toe. Use 2 hands. She's already got it.
Oh, yeah.
April could use a little help with the pinky toe. So you just bring it here like this, and you slide like that, and then you push the heel down. You see that? Good. Let them start the pose. Me, put your hand on behind the back of their head. Right the back of the head, Eliza. So, yeah, you're pretty new to this. So you're going to be here with your palm right at the center back of the head. There you go. But let her move into you. You're just going to keep the head in line with the spine. You're looking, is the head in line with the spine, or they have a gentle smile? Okay? Then if you'd like to reach for your heels, go ahead. Okay? If not, there you go. Okay? Then you're going to come up to standing, and you're going to put one finger behind their shoulder blades. Right from the center line, Eliza. So you're right in the middle of her. And then reach up and over and touch the breastbone with one finger. Just gently. Middle finger is usually best. Lift the breastbone. Squeeze. Sarah, you're so deep in a back bend. Good. And then let them come up. And child's camel. So it's all about, for some long-waisted like Jenny, it's all about hugging to the midline and turning the tail down. So that's something maybe I didn't mention enough, is that to initiate camel pose, it's the turning the tail down. So I'll show you with April one more time. It's the same things that we do in every pose. So at first, she has a sense of the inner spiral coming up and spreading her butt or her sitting bones wide. But then it's the outer spiral, which brings the outer hips and the tailbone down. And so that tailbone down is something that you can also touch as a teacher. It's very supportive. So I'm here as the teacher, and I'm helping April keep her tailbone down as she starts the pose. Just that takes it out of the lower back. But it also helps as the teacher if I lift here, because that keeps her from crunching her lower back too much. Right? So this loop starts here and comes up, right? Up her lumbar spine. Then it doesn't compress the lumbar spine. Then she comes up and over. Now she's working mostly in her thoracic spine, and she's actually shaking a little bit. Good, then come up. So if you want to try tailbone down, but lumbar spine lengthen, as an assist, you can do that right now. So how would you do it? How would you do it? They start the pose. Start the pose. You're helping them with tailbone down, but lengthen the lumbar spine up.
She go up just midway up the back.
Yeah, the lumbar spine is only the big 5 bottom vertebrae. Is she helping you get your tailbone down? Then good.
No, you're pushing me forward a lot.
Yeah, slide the tailbone down, Eliza. There you go. Nice, April. That looks really nice. So you don't... Okay, come up. One of the challenges, Eliza, is it's hard to come over from the side and stay true to the midline. So you want to have both your elbows in, so you're like this. Because if you're out like this, it's hard to know that I'm really in the midline. Yeah. Change roles. So Eliza will be able to back bend very far. And so it's mostly... So you all can look for just a second. So y'all look for just a second, because Eliza is a back that we really want to look at supporting, because she's young. She can back bend easily, but she could easily crunch her back. So come on up to kneeling up. Thing is wider, and your knees wider. A little bit wider feet. That's probably good. Now can you hug your knees into the midline and turn the tail down? And that's the first key action that we want to teach her. You forward, like round your back. Go forward a little bit and turn the tail down. And that's the start, even though it seems counterintuitive. The counterintuitive thing is actually go forward to go backwards. So she's going to go forward and set her tail to then go backwards. She goes forward, sets her tailbone, and then she's going to back bend. Okay? And she can easily reach her heels without trying much. That's okay. Then put your hands on your palms on your heels and your middle finger only. So come up, so just your middle finger is there. There you go. So there she is. Okay, she's not even really trying that hard. Okay. And then come straight up. All right. So our job is with a mobile body like that is to mostly work on the muscular energy and setting the foundation and the base strong. Anyway, touches. So go ahead, do their feet first. Yep, so you use both hands at the same time. You really try to get the toes under. So the way I would do it is I would have one hand on the heel and I would slide the toes like that. Yeah, okay, Jenny? Tailbone down. You can even support their tailbone, like Jenny's been having a lot of back pain, so Michael can support her tailbone down. Yep, that's good. Just drag down with your hand. There you go. Does that help, Jenny? Okay, so he's just drag. Go ahead, Jenny. Just a little bit right there. Then find your knees again. Stay there. Find your knees again. And that's it. Okay? And that's a much safer camel pose for you. Right? And then use your knees and come up. Does it make sense to you now? So it's not how far I go.
Right. I still feel like I'm crunching. So maybe I'm using too much of these muscles and not enough of this muscle.
Yeah, so that's why we were having the teacher slide down the tailbone or down the sacrum, and then with the other hand lengthen up the lumbar spine. So pelvic loop goes down, you can see it, but the lumbar back is lifting up. Okay. It's difficult to touch in that way as a teacher. That looks very different though. Yeah. Okay. Try touching sternum and between shoulder blades if you didn't already. So I try touching the sternum in the center between the shoulder blades.
Yeah, just a little.
There you go. There you go. You can press your head back a little more, Liza. Keep coming. That's in line with the spine.
That's good.
Nice work. And find your knees. And it's an important distinction. People doing camel pose are not thrusting their hips forward. They're hugging the knees to the midline. So I'm not thrusting my hips forward. I'm hugging my knees to the midline. Good. Hug your knees to the midline and come up. Good. Nice job. Child's pose. And then we're going to look at bridge pose. There is. Getting to a full cup.
I'm like, things are spilling out. I'm like,
There's a full cup.
Thank you, sir.
We can just do all together.
I know you really got it. Your cup's full.
Your cup's full.
So we're gonna go all together. So I'll work with one pair of people here. So bridge pose, you can do, Eliza. You're lying on the back. Go ahead and work with me all together. So the setup that happens, come back down. It's usually they have their feet a little too close. So we want the feet hip width. So you might tap them. And it's also a way that you can support. Let me move you. There you go. So like that. So you can always support the base, right? Just by pressing into the up. Okay, press into one elbow and the other so you can get your shoulders a little bit closer. Ankle crease, I'm helping, right? So I'm just moving the weapon. That's a pretty simple and easy support. This is a posture where the key thing that I really want to check, and that I want you all to learn to check, is to slide underneath the neck and say, lift up, don't flatten your neck. Because I should be able to pass my hand underneath the neck here. You see how different that looks? It feels better too. Okay, now she can smile. So that's the number one thing I want you all to check. So first put their feet in a symmetrical place. You can lift your toes, drag your heels toward your shoulders. I mean, you don't need to move them, but okay, there you go. So I want you to see, are they using their feet toward their shoulders? And then I want you to come around and slide your hand under the neck. That's it. And then come down. Okay? It's kind of a resting pose. So go ahead and practice supporting the ankles. But before you support them, you need to look at them and see if do the feet look symmetrical? Does this person look lined up? Are the feet as wide as hips? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. He can bring his feet closer to his butt. So the feet should be really close to the butt. Really close. Then slide your hand under their neck. So you gotta get down there and say, hey, hey. Palm down, Eliza. There you go. All right. Come down. This is that's. And so let's talk about a couple of cues. So frequently I'll say bring your chest toward your chin, but not your chin toward your chest. Because if you bring the chin toward the chest, you'll flatten your neck. So bring your chest toward your chin, but keep your chin away from your chest. Or I'll just say, make sure you keep a curve to your neck. Don't flatten your neck, which is an easy way of doing it.
Can you have them check their own tunnel? Probably not.
Yeah. I mean, it's possible to do bridge pose without your arms, but then there's bound bridge, and I want to demonstrate bound bridge with Michael. So can you come over here? And we're not going to do, but you all can practice during the break if you want. This really only applies to muscular people. Bridge pose, you're lying down. All right, and Michael doesn't have so much this problem. So the setup for bridge pose is the feet are, let me move you. They're a little wider apart. There we go. Okay. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Okay, he can start by lifting the tips of his toes. Hold on. Like he's putting his heat towards his shoulders. Anytime something's touching the ground in yoga, whatever's touching the ground should come toward the other things touching the ground. So that's just a start, and we know we're doing this with Michael because he always flattens his arches. Just spread his toes, start with, and then turn your hands up to the sky. Bend at the elbow, and dig your elbows in the ground. Now pull with your feet to lift your butt. Lift your hips. There you go. So here he is. We're seeing his bridge pose here. You can put your toes back down, but keep pulling with the heels. All right. So you see, muscular legs. One of the things that I'll check as the teacher is I'll check the hamstrings. So I might just come touch. Are you using these muscles? Right? If not, I can draw toward me, right? Doing the thigh loop. Stay there, Michael. Now drop your hands to the ground. Can you interlace your hands underneath you? And you can see he has a bit of trouble, right? He can't quite straighten his arms. So not all yoga teachers are going to want to do this, but I step over. I'm at the humerus bone, and I just use my feet to help squeeze his elbows together. Can you push into your head and lift up a little higher? Charlie horse. In your leg? It happened. So nothing can be done at that point, but resting. But he can try stretching his leg up to the sky. And stretch up to the sky and bending. All right. So anyway, we're not going to have him do the pose again because he just got a cramp. But the idea is I use my feet to help inch the elbows closer together. One key thing is you're not bringing the arms this way. You're bringing the arms closer together. There are teachers that say grab your ankles in this pose. That's not correct. If you grab your ankles in this pose, you'll definitely flatten your neck. Okay? Because you're pulling your arms long, you're definitely going to flatten your neck. That's not a correct cueing. So shoulder blades come toward each other, arms can come toward each other. You're getting up onto the acromion, that high point of the shoulder blade, using the back of the head. This is the #1 pose to strengthen the back of the neck because you're really working on pressing the head into the ground. Good. So we're going to look at fish pose. Who would like to demonstrate fish pose? You can both do it. So you both do it. Lie on your mat. Lou will lie on his mat. We're going to separate the partners though. So Eliza will work with Sarah here. Able with Lou. This is a supported fish pose. And the thing is, so bridge pose emphasized the lower spine and the hips. Fish pose is going to emphasize the upper spine and the shoulders. So back bending in the two segments. So here's Lou, and here's April with Lou. Here's Sarah and Eliza. You can bring, if possible, flex your feet to engage them more. And so with someone like Lou, I'd have him flex. With someone like Sarah, I'd have her point. Pointing is eventually, in a way, more correct. But if Lou points, can you point your feet, Lou? It's okay, but he might start to lose his base. Flex, Lou? I don't know. He looks a little stronger like that to me. Okay. So this is a nice pose for opening the chest. There are a lot of things that can be done. The number one thing that I end up doing in this pose when I'm teaching this posture is I come over the person, I reach underneath, and I bring them forward until their shoulders come over their elbows. Okay, that's the number one thing that I end up doing, is just pulling them forward until their shoulders come over their elbows. I can even stay underneath them and work on squeezing the muscles of the back toward the spine. Okay, you can rest now, though. Fish pose. Yes, Tracy.
So before this week, I had always thought fish pose was more like with the top of your head on the mat.
That's the most common way that it's taught.
Okay.
So matsya means fish.
Okay.
Matsya. Matsyasana. A lot of times people put the crown of the head on the mat. It's not wrong. There are versions of fish where you're in full lotus. You're turning your full lotus to the ground, and you have your crown of head on the mat. This version of fish is potentially dangerous for someone who has a really weak C7, T1 joint right here. However, I find that it's actually much safer than weight bearing on the crown of the head.
Yeah, I mean, this one I was like, oh, this one seems to have a lot less of the
Yeah, so I find that in general, so that's why it's not wrong to weight bear on the crown of the head. It does teach that, integration of the crown of the head through to the spine. But in a level 1 class, I find this to be a much safer version to teach. If I were to support Lou, which this is Lou, can you turn your mat sort of perpendicular to where it is right now so we can see on the... They make a block called the block, Manduka does, which is rounded. But you can also recreate that by using a rag or something. And the reason that we like this pose, can you roll that into a roll? Yeah, I think so. Let's see how it matches up here. Just like this one. Sort of press up. There we go. Sometimes something like this. Hold on a second. Go ahead and let your head come down. A restorative pose for someone like Lou. And so the blocks underneath his thoracic spine, he gets to rest his head. No. And so because we have supported, and that block's not the most comfortable situation I could. Okay, but this is the forward set, thoracic hunch. But we also want Lou to learn how to do the pose using his muscles. And that the same kind of touches always touch the center of the sternum of the person. Because he is in this passive pose, it gives me more time to show you, little traces that you can do, like under the collarbones. We're opening this up, right? In hot yoga, when people are really sweaty, I just drag and then I turn the collarbones like that. Okay. Y'all got the idea of fish pose? So we're teaching people, and then it's not wrong while they're doing it to also let the head go and stretch their face and their throat and their tongue and their nose and their eyes and all of that. I don't think we really need to do. I think you all got the picture.
Yeah.
Okay, fish pose. There are a lot of ways, but the number one assist I'm going to show you again. So bring your hands back. You can push with your hands to help you come up. Come up, curl up. There you go. The number one assist, the number one thing that I end up doing, we're going to practice. So get your partner. Go ahead. Someone do fish pose, real basic. And what April's going to do is she's going to step over and she's going to pull loose. Hey, scoot this way. Scoot this way. Come on. Well, he needs to help you. Say, scoot this way. There you go. Okay. Sarah's fine. No problem. No problem. Let her start it. Okay. You got it. Now you're going to see that she's like, okay, she can go further. Now put your hands behind the heart there, and you're going to grab in such a way that they contract there more. And they'll need to scoot, scoot, scoot. And you're not pulling the back muscles away from each other. You're actually pushing the back muscles toward each other. Right? Shoulders over elbows, more or less. So she can go a little further. Yeah, see? See? Okay. And I think that's good. Sarah, did you practice doing it? Supporting someone? All right. I think we're good. I think you all are like done. So bridge pose and fish pose, if you put them together, it would be upward facing bow or the full back bend. When you're doing full back bend, if you want to offer it as an option in the level 1 class, remember we're just saying, you know, hey, if it's in your practice, you can do. So you all deserve to have a nice break. You might want to go for a walk, get some outside air. I'm going to start a question and answer in case there's somebody's here, but you all can go for a nice walk if you'd like. Get some fresh air.
If you want to practice me, that's when I wouldn't mind it.
I think, you know, just come back when you want to. I'm going to start. So, but you all just take a break. Yeah.